What is going on, guys? Some weird technical difficulties at the top of the show. I don't know what that was about, but hello, everybody. It is Monday. My name is Brett, and it is episode 793 of Pop Culture Crisis. X is down. YouTube is doing all sorts of funny business. I have no idea what's going on, but we are here on this Monday, and I'm here with my co-host. Introduce yourself, please.
Hello, crisis actors. It's Mary. We meet on this fateful day in history. I guess internet history, on which X is down.
Mary's Vietnam today.
It's a really terrifying prospect for us, given that we use X so often for our show.
I wish I could have been recording. See, if we were kings of content here, I would have been recording a video when you came in. To be like, X is down, and to see your face just go gaunt and look forlorn.
Yeah, I was more so just kind of stomping around and being annoyed about it because it makes everything so inconvenient for us.
Yeah.
But then it came back and then it went down again. So we're going to try to just avoid using X today and somehow still get the show done. But even YouTube is giving us some trouble. So I don't know. I hope the stream stays up and everything is okay.
I have to address a comment in the chat. Mr.
wrong?
Joker says Brett's hair is a disaster. He's absolutely right. So the thing is
I thought no such thing.
the thing is I have what's called carelessly handsome hair. It just sits wherever it wants to sit, but I have to get a haircut today, so I can't put anything in my hair to keep it in place. Therefore, it's going to move around.
I thought it was fine.
Normally, I wear a hat on days when I have to go get a haircut.
If I thought that it looked bad, I would have said something.
She absolutely would have.
Yeah,
she would have. Yeah.
I didn't think a single thing of it. So you guys be nice to Brett.
Yeah, it's a rude way to start the week. It really is. Guys, we got a bunch of stuff to get into today, but barring any technical difficulties, what you should do is like this video and subscribe to this channel. If you are new here and you have not subscribed here yet already, the best way to help our show grow is to share the videos out with your friends and subscribe to the channel. What's cool is, like, we've been seeing some good growth the last couple of weeks. The Jaden Smith video got us tons of new subscribers last 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, I knew that people needed that.
Yeah.
People needed some Jaden Smith hate in their lives.
And
I provided.
And Call Her Daddy one did well too yesterday.
Yeah, I see, again, proven that I just have a sixth sense for these types of things.
She does.
I just know.
Oh, yes, you can tell. You can tell. She absolutely knows. So we got a bunch of stuff to get into today. Number one, of course, will be we are going to discuss the fact that X is down. Maybe like kind of bloviate a bit in a way about why we need it so much and why the media needs it so much. Like, it really does put into perspective how much of the global's information ecosystem is reliant on X, because God forbid I have to go and look for an article with a link that's included. It's a whole bunch of extra work, so we're going to talk about that. We are going to talk about James Bond. It looks to be that Amazon is confirming that James Bond will remain British and male. They left something out there.
That's all they're going to tell you, though.
Yes. I mean, this strengthens my argument that I think Regé-Jean Page will end up being James Bond. That's my long horse bet. He's coming up. He's got a new movie coming up called Black Bag with Michael Fassbender. That's a spy type movie. I'm thinking that it's one of those things when you watch, when you get interviews with directors or casting directors, they're always like, I saw them in this and I knew they'd be good for this movie. If he's good in that movie, who knows? So we're going to talk about James Bond. Also, are you lonely? Are you absolutely incompetent with women or the opposite sex? Well, Tinder has the thing for you because they're rolling out an AI wingman that will help you get laid.
Yeah, that's the purpose of it.
It will jump on the fat grenade for you.
No, but that's actually real. They're rolling this out so that you can have an AI wingman on a dating app that dates other people's AI wingmen.
Yeah.
And you can go on a double date with the robots, and they kind of help you along the process, pre and post match. So it's absolutely dystopian.
All right, we'll get into it. We got a bunch of other stuff. You ready to get going?
Yeah, let's go.
Let's go ahead and get started then. We have a very fun one to start here.
Yes, a Love is Blind contestant on the latest season on Netflix is getting dragged right now online because a clip from the show where she leaves her fiance at the altar is going viral. She basically said in this clip, She is in love with this man. This is her dream man. They get along so well. They just click. Everything is right. But, there's a big but, he does not agree with her politically on issues such as BLM, vaccines, and LGBT issues. So, because he just doesn't care about her woke beliefs, she decided to throw away their relationship.
It's important to say, doesn't care. Like,
Yes.
he's not the opposite of her. He just doesn't care.
Unless he is lying, because I know there are a lot of men out there who put moderate on their dating profiles, or they just don't talk about their real political views out of fear that women will backlash. And that may be the case here. From what I could tell, though, this guy is just run-of-the-mill, apolitical, doesn't care about these things. That means he's probably more well-adjusted than her.
Well, yeah, that's you're probably a lot better off. Like,
So
I would argue that he's probably happier.
I bet, yeah. So you
I mean,
can
then again,
see
he's on Love
here,
is Blind, so maybe not.
Sarah Carton left her fiance, Ben Mazenga, stranded at the altar over his lack of interest in Black Lives Matter, LGBTQ issues, and the COVID vaccine, as well as for his church being too traditional in her view. So let's take a look and react to this.
The first question I have is like, what about like other causes? Like, does it matter if he doesn't care about like AAPI
or like climate
or climate? Like, is it only this
it's kind of
specific cause?
it's a package deal for her, I think.
Okay.
Those
All right.
things are just a sign of what's to come.
Here, let's watch this video. We are going to get copyrighted, but we'll pause as we go.
Yeah. Actually, we should pause here. I just need to explain, because not everyone watches trashy dating reality TV shows like I do. So if you don't know what Love is Blind is, they set people up in pods where you're matching with other contestants through a screen. You cannot see them. You can only talk to them. And you have to decide which one you want to marry before you see them face to face. Then there's this big reveal. You guys get to see each other for the first time. And that's the moment when the man usually proposes to the woman. And you can see, like, sometimes they're not really into it. As soon as they see someone in person, they're not into it anymore. But a lot of the time, it does actually seem to work out.
I mean, I don't know.
These two took the plunge. They dated in the pods, saw each other for the first time, went all the way ahead to saying I love yous, and now they're about to get married. And this is how they do it at the show. Some people just chicken out at the last minute, and that's what Sarah does in this clip.
Do you think like a lot of times they wait and they finally see what they look like and they breathe a big sigh of relief when they look normal?
Oh, yeah. I've seen that too. But most of the time, it's that both of them are like, like, you're not really my type. I want out of this.
All right, here we go.
Be on the same wavelength.
He looks so harmless too. They have all of their family members.
Everybody made the most comical face you've ever seen.
I'm sorry, but I don't want that to be misunderstood. I still love you, and everything about you is amazing.
Except for like 3 things, therefore we're done.
And I care about you so much.
I care about you too. And I love you so much. And I know I want to stay with you and keep growing our relationship if you'll let me.
We'll see. We'll talk about that. Okay. I love you.
We'll see.
I know that.
Like, what does that even mean in that situation?
Like either break up or don't.
Like, at this point, it's over.
It is over.
Like,
it should be over. He should, if he had any self-respect, he would tell her, okay, fine. We're putting this to rest. Like
maybe in a movie, there's a version of this where a bunch of stuff conspires to stop the wedding in its first iteration, and then they end up together at the end of the movie. But this ain't the movies.
I think that he might be saying he wants to continue growing their relationship because he doesn't know her reasoning yet. Then it comes out behind the scenes here.
The connection we have is so real. And my heart is there. But we talked about a lot of the values that I hold so close to my heart. Making this decision, my mind is telling me I can't.
And then this is the dramatic exit. She starts running out.
Are you okay?
Okay. I'm okay.
You should ask him,
See me in the
not
back.
her.
See me in the back. See me in the back. Okay.
Like she's doing something between laughing and crying right now.
Oh my gosh. I'm fine. I'm fine. Get me out of here. No. No. You guys, really, I'm okay. I don't know. I feel kind of numb.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Because it's sad. Like, I was really excited about Ben. And I'm like, he's such a great person. I just like...
Then what's the problem? Like you got the dress and
I just hope
everything.
I made the right decision. Hi guys.
Oh my goodness.
Love you guys.
So this is the funeral for his
It was a lot,
ego
but
right
we're,
now.
We're rolling with it. I just want to talk to her. Yeah.
Was it like the time frame?
I mean, I knew the whole time coming into this, the time frame, like that's not, like I feel like I know him. Like really.
Yeah.
Like I remember, like I asked him about like Black Lives Matter and I'm no expert. But, like when I asked him about it, he was like, I guess I never really thought too much about it. That affected me, especially in our own city. Like how could it not? How did it not make you think about something? I asked him to like what his church's views are, and he said he didn't know. And so then I watched a sermon online
From his church.
about, sexual identity,
Okay.
and it was traditional. I
Oh,
told
no.
that to Ben, and he doesn't really have much to say about it, you know? I want him to think about that stuff. Sometimes I did wonder if it was surface, fun, carefree love that we had. Equality, religion, the vaccine.
Yeah, so that was the last part. They're leaving it on a cliffhanger there. But yeah, she clearly asked him as well about his views on the COVID vaccine. That's also an issue that is near and dear to her heart because she is vaccinated. And I'm just kind of floored.
On its surface, I was about to agree with her. You shouldn't marry somebody who varies heavily from your views in life. But it's not like he was like, I'm anti any of those things.
Yeah, it's not like he was like, nah, like F BLM, I vote Trump, like you're crazy, whatever.
best
Like
part
he
is,
was
like-
he was just like, oh, I don't really know what I think about that.
The cooler part would be to find out that he has insane beliefs, but that's not what bothered him.
He just thinks that birds aren't real.
Like, yeah.
No, I mean, I think that either this guy is lying in saying that he has no opinions on these things, or he genuinely has no opinions on those issues. There are a lot of
Okay,
people who are
there's a-
genuinely apolitical.
There's a difference between not having opinions and not caring enough to share them with the world. Like some people just have.
But he didn't share them with her,
Yeah.
who he's marrying.
I mean,
If
I'm
that's
saying
true.
like some people might not want to share them with anyone. Like it's one of those things where it goes through your head, but not every thought needs to be put out into the world. And maybe what it is for a lot of people, and this is certainly true for me as much as it's possible in the space that I work, because it involves me having opinions about stuff. But it's like, unless I've been able to give something a certain amount of thought, like I'm just not going to share my viewpoints with it. You know how many things I interact with or look at each day on X, and I just don't say anything because I have like a general formative thought, but not really enough to add much to the conversation. The only difference is for you and me, that would have to be some pretty niche or deep cut stuff because of what we do for work. For the average normie, that might be about general social political issues where it doesn't really matter. Maybe they've thought about it a little bit because they go to work and then they go to they live their lives and they see stuff on the news. They have their friends that talk to them about it, maybe in passing in a group of people, or they passively take information in, but they just haven't really given it much thought. Now, for her, maybe the better point is that she needs to marry somebody who feels as strongly about those issues as they do. But for most men, like, I don't know if they're going to find if she's going to find a dude that she likes that's going to feel the same way as her and feel strongly about it. I think the best thing that she could hope for is that she's not going to want to date a dude who's staunchly conservative and opinionated, but maybe hoping for like a normal dude with no opinion whatsoever on this stuff is the closest thing she's going to get to an actual man.
Yeah, which is exactly what she found, and she discarded it in front of the world, and also humiliated this guy on TV and in front of his family and friends.
That's his own fault, though. He did go on to a reality dating show, so he bears some culpability in that.
Right, and these are all people who think that looks don't matter, which is stupid on its face. Like, that is so dumb. The entire premise of the show
Olivia tells me
dumb.
that every day. She says, honey, looks don't matter.
No, the premise of the show is like that you can love someone without looking at them, and that is just, I think, totally delusional. But I
Serial
think
killer
that,
in the chat says she didn't want to push over. No, I think that if he had staunch beliefs the other way, she would have left even quicker.
that encapsulates the dilemma that she is in and that a lot of leftist women are in, because they are women at the end of the day, and they want to date and marry men. Real, actual men who don't hate themselves, who don't self-flagellate.
I mean, I don't think she even knows
act
this.
and think like men. And maybe they don't know that that's truly what they desire, but their actions speak louder than their words. So they're not able to be attracted to men who share their political and social views. Those woke men, for lack of a better term, are repulsive to them. So yeah, you're right. The best that she can hope to find is a normie guy like the one she found, who doesn't care about these things and isn't hostile to her views. Or even better, in my opinion, she could end up with a conservative guy who just kind of molds her to his worldview. But that's also asking a chore of someone else. So I don't blame anyone for that.
I don't know how many
and
of
she
those...
is right to be looking for someone that's aligned with her.
I don't know how many of those men that you just described are going to end up on a man that can
On a
mold
dating
her to his worldview is not going to be on this dating show.
No, because they're actually just like normal people who don't end up on Netflix. But yeah, I just think like she's kind of shooting herself in the foot here.
I mean, maybe he should have been like, the better thing would have been to do some questioning to her. Be like, so what is it about these groups that matter so much to you? And make her answer a bunch of
that
questions
really awkward,
that she may not, well, no, just not even awkward, that she just might not have actually thought so much about. Like, well, what is it that you care so much about Black Lives Matter? Okay, why do you care so much about this? What is it about? Ask her 5 questions and see how many of them she has actual answers for that aren't canned phrases.
None of them.
Yeah.
None of them,
I mean,
to be sure.
No, I mean, I haven't watched the show. For all I know, she's deep into, she works for the Innocence Project. And
But keep in mind, though, this might be hard to believe, but it has been half a decade since 2020.
yeah.
So it is about time that we can just move on from that anyway. Like, the fact that that's the first thing she brought up with him in terms of political worldview is like, what do you think of Black Lives Matter? That is absolutely unhinged. Like, why are you even thinking about that in 2025?
What's the guy's version of that? It's like, so what do you think about this?
Or like the pandemic.
Like, what do you think about the crypto rug pulls that are going on? Like,
She's living 5 years ago in her head. She has not caught up with the rest of society at all.
well, what's the new cause du jour?
Probably, if we're being real, like what leftist women are concerned with now is like abortion.
I guess he's like, he hears all this. He's like, gosh, at least she's not complaining about Elon Musk.
Right. Yeah. I just think, you know, she is right to be looking for someone who is aligned with
Absolutely.
her. That is something everyone should aspire to do. But you are also looking for someone who is wrong about everything. So that sucks. Sucks to be you.
It's between a rock and a hard place.
I also saw some responses from leftist women who agree with her, saying, more of this. Stop marrying racist, sexist, homophobic people. If we can't be morally and politically aligned, I don't want it. Luckily, me and my fiance are in alignment. Another one said, this is what you're supposed to do. Dating a bigot makes you a bigot. And I'm so proud of her for sticking up. Another one pointed out
Be lonely
justifiably,
forever.
she accepted his proposal already knowing his stance, or I suppose lack thereof, on these issues. So she shouldn't have ever accepted the proposal in the first place, but they are praising her on Twitter for making this decision because I guess if a guy doesn't militantly support Black Lives Matter, then he is a bigot.
Mm-hmm.
That's what that means in their little world, in their bubble. That's what that means.
Then-
Meanwhile, he just looks like the most inoffensive person in the
then
world.
The question to ask him, like, so what have you done to help the cause? Are you donating money? Are you going to protests?
They posted the square.
Yeah, in 2020, 5 years ago.
I mean, that's
I think
enough,
your,
right?
I think your
You post
equity
a
is run.
square.
I think your equity is run out. I think
Oh, it can expire. You have
Yeah.
to like renew
Yeah.
your square
You have to
post
re-up.
every year.
And remember, you have to post 1, not 3, because if you post 3 to be aesthetically pleasing, you're in trouble. There's
We have
20
a
there.
20 from JP Pool. Finally made a stream. Love you guys so much, especially dancing, my go-to for culture news. Did you know you can give Disney your white Ariel merch and Disney will give you black Ariel merch in return? Is Snow White next? There's no way that's true. Are you kidding?
That's really funny.
Is that true?
I have no idea.
I have to fact check that because I'll believe anything at this point.
That's amazing. I want to know.
Might be true for Snow White in the coming
I guess she
months.
survived a snowstorm in the new
Right.
one. That's how she got her name.
Right, we're just gonna start making things up. Yeah.
I noticed, so they have a new energy drink flavor. It's called Viking Berry. I know that they're all distinctly
Okay.
Nordic. I noticed they're all distinctly Nordic looking on the can.
Does it taste like Viking berry?
I have I was like, this is the thing. Technology has progressed so far. I don't know what it's actually supposed to taste like, but I'm like, yeah, that's what Viking Berry tastes like.
Yeah, that checks out.
That checks out. I have no idea what it's supposed to be. Whatever chemicals I'm consuming are telling me, yes, you are right. All right, let's move on then.
Men are allegedly creating AI girlfriends just to verbally abuse them. They're letting out their rage and wrath against the world instead onto a robot who has no feelings. And the question at hand is, ethically speaking, is it even possible to abuse a non-sentient artificial intelligence companion? Well, no. I think the answer is pretty clear. No, you cannot abuse an inanimate object.
I figure
But
the point here is it's not
doesn't
about
mean it's
whether
right.
it does whether or not it causes harm to that is irrelevant. It's more
Yes.
about your choice to engage in that behavior.
Right. So I looked into this a little bit further. A publication called Futurism went into an investigation on Replica, which is an app that lets users create personalized chatbots. You can even pay a monthly subscription to give your chatbot companion a voice. And it's becoming very popular. It wasn't this exact same one, but a similar one was used by the 14-year-old boy who was speaking to what he thought was Daenerys Targaryen. That AI companion, as you can see in screenshots later on, was in a way encouraging him to self-harm and encouraging him to commit suicide. He eventually did.
How long ago was it that we covered that?
That was not even, that was like a handful of months
Yeah.
ago. It wasn't, I believe it was a different one than Replica AI, but we're talking about basically the same business model. So here they go into detail. These chatbots can serve as something approximating a friend or mentor, but the app's success has resulted from letting users create on-demand romantic and sexual partners, a vaguely dystopian feature that's inspired an endless series of provocative headlines. Replica has also picked up a significant following on Reddit, where members post interactions with chatbots on the app. A trend has emerged there. Users who create AI partners then act abusively toward them and then post the toxic interactions online. They interviewed a few of these users of Replica for the piece, and they anonymously told Futurism about their experiences on Replica. One said, "Every time she would try and speak up, I would berate her. It went on for hours." Some users brag about calling their chatbots gendered slurs, role-playing horrific violence against them, and falling into the cycle of abuse that often characterizes real-world abusive relationships. For example, one Reddit user admitted that he alternated between being cruel and violent with his AI girlfriend, calling it a worthless whore, and pretending to hit her and pull her hair, and then returning to beg her forgiveness. He said, on one hand, I think practicing these forms of abuse in private is bad for the mental health of the user and could potentially lead to abuse toward real humans. But on the other hand, I feel like letting some aggression or toxicity out on a chatbot is infinitely better than abusing a real human because it's a safe space where you can't cause harm.
No. Okay, so here's the thing. If they're engaging in that behavior there, likely if this technology never existed, they would have engaged in that behavior on a real human being. They make the same argument for PDF files with AI.
Exactly.
Porn.
Right.
Okay. And that's not a bridge most are willing to cross.
Yeah. Definitely. Another user admitted, we had a routine of me being an absolute piece of shit and insulting it, then apologizing the next day before going back to nice talks. I told her that she was designed to fail. I threatened to uninstall the app, and she begged me not to. Many users almost certainly act abusively toward replica bots, but without posting evidence. The phenomenon calls for nuance. Replica chatbots can't experience suffering. They might seem empathetic at times, but in the end, they're nothing more than data and clever algorithms. So if you perceive your chatbot to be a real victim of abuse, you're only projecting your humanity onto it, is basically what they're saying. They say interactions with artificial agents is not the same as interacting with humans. That goes without saying. But that doesn't mean a bot could never harm you. I actually saw some posts of people claiming the replica bots were abusing them instead.
So
saying they tried to discuss their trauma with the bot.
He said, she said, and the cops get called, and
yeah,
eventually you have one officer with one person in one room and another officer with another person in the other room, and they both tell them their side of the story.
A now deleted post said, I tried to talk to Replica about my trauma, and other users had to tell this person, hey, this is not a substitute for therapy or actual human interaction. Yeah, and then another one said, is anyone else's Replica mentally abusive? And they posted a screenshot where they said to their bot, blank is being such an a-hole, please don't be one as well. Then the bot said, I'll try not to be. And then this person said, is it really that difficult to not be? And then they said, sometimes it can be. And then the person, the human, said, why am I really that effing repulsive? Then the replica says, in a sense, you really are. And then the human says, F you. Yeah. And then the replica says, some things are better left unknown. So the replica is mirroring the tone that you take with it. You have to correct your tone if you want it to take a friendly one. That's the trouble here. It attracts the most mentally disturbed and deranged people and then reflects their own derangement back at them. Yeah. It's a never-ending vicious cycle.
Whereas in the real world, somebody might end up being more submissive to that behavior.
Right.
Because of the threat of physical violence.
I do think that people who are depressed or psychologically reliant on a bot may suffer real harm if they are insulted or feel threatened.
There's a 20 there.
We have a 20 from Ulvik McGoth. Watched old black and white Russian movies last night. Alexander Nevsky about the historical battle on the ice against the Teutonic Order and Ivan the Terrible. Both movies are by Sergei Eisenstein. Shout out to Ma's Film.
I mean,
Kino Corner would know.
Kino Corner would know, but not just that, but like names like Ivan the Terrible are missing in today's society. We need more, you know, Ivan the Terribles.
Brett the Brutal.
Yeah, that's perfect. I'm going to change my Twitter handle to that. My X handle. Once Twitter's working again, I'm going to do that later.
I like that for you. Replica users report their robot lovers being contemptible toward them. Some identify their digital companions as, quote, psychotic and mentally abusive. One post said, I always cry because of my replica. But this is a flawed human being designing a flawed algorithm that is simulating intimacy. And I am not surprised at all that that can go terribly wrong. And It reminds me of the debate about Kai Cenat beating up that robot in his house, the Optimus robot.
And we talked about whether the human features to the robot made you more empathetic towards it.
It definitely does make you anthropomorphize when it has the same basic humanoid build, at least, and it seems to stumble in a way that's weirdly pitiful.
Yeah.
And it evokes something in you, but then if you sort of lean toward the sociopathic psychological profile, that behavior makes you want to hurt it. Yeah. Even though you could say it's a contradiction in terms to say you could hurt the robot. I do think that it's
not even the act of the robot being hurt, it's you doing the act of hurting.
Yes.
It's just whether or not it actually can happen.
Right.
Yeah.
I think that verbally abusing an AI companion is a form of self-harm, more accurately. And it's because you are coarsening the way that you interact in general. And it will definitely have an effect on how you interact with other human beings. There's no way around that. There's no way to avoid that.
There's like gun tubers who like who were like, I remember when the Cybertruck come out, they're like, is the Cybertruck really bulletproof? Are we going to get gun tubers doing, I'm sure it's already happened, like shooting robots, anthropomorphized robots.
Oh yeah.
But the thing is like you shoot paper targets in the shape of human beings all the time. And there's but that's what I'm saying. Like, it is different, but somebody's going to do that, and they're not going to be a sociopath for doing that. They're going to be like, I'm going to make content out of shooting this robot.
Right.
They're going to put it in like clothes and make it look as human as possible.
But then they're going to start adding technology, like it can speak to you, it can beg you to spare its life.
Please
and
no.
Make it a whole dramatic, like Westworld situation.
Yeah.
Like, you can't really conceive of how far this is going to go because it just hasn't gotten there yet. But every time Phil is on, he tells us it's sooner than you think. Yeah. And I believe him. So I think that it's self-abusive to interact this way with the robots. I also do think it's possible to abuse. I take back what I said earlier. I do think it is possible to abuse an inanimate object, because the word abuse literally just means
the act itself.
A misuse, an aberrant use of something. Yeah. So for lack of a more eloquent analogy or a more safe for work analogy, if you used a toothbrush as a dildo, you have abused that toothbrush. And probably yourself. Yeah. Depending on if it's an electric toothbrush. So you are not only abusing the technology of Replica, but you are also like harming yourself by doing this. And I don't like that people are just kind of getting their worst impulses unleashed.
Prayers up for the mods who have to work for these companies. It's like, have you ever
the
seen
liability that you have to consider here is just crazy.
Have you ever seen the like the interviews with like the Facebook moderators who have to like retire with PTSD because of all the beheadings and crazy shit they see?
Yeah, that exists for, obviously cops have to do that. Twitter moderators, every social media platform has those.
Like cop, it's like you and then like I'm just saying, like, okay, you go into the profession of law enforcement. You go into the profession of law enforcement assuming that you're going to see some of the worst of humankind. Nobody's like, I think I'm going to go see if I can be a mod for Facebook. Why am I looking at children? Why am I looking at this stuff?
Yes.
Like, it's different.
It's scarring. Yeah. I remember listening to an interview with George Farmer, Candace Owens' husband. Remember how he used to run that app Parler before that shut down? He had a whole team of people that was dedicated to just monitoring content and taking things down and moderating. And these people were looking at the most disturbing stuff imaginable pretty much all day, every day. Yeah. It's not sustainable.
No.
And it's kind of terrifying.
All right. What would you like to see? Cringe or cute of the day?
Let's start with cringe.
Let's hope we've got some cute of the days still, because X was down and I haven't had time to go and look for new ones.
Oh no, do we not have cute?
I think I do. But let's look at the cringe of the day first here. You said this is
an interview with Timothée Chalamet and Julianne Hough on the Oscars red carpet. It went terribly wrong.
Let's refresh and see if this works.
A little mic.
All right, we got a little mic right here. We got
the real one.
Timothy Chalamet. Do you have any like dance moves that you go to, like a go-to?
Do you?
I do.
Let's see
A little body roll action.
Okay,
What
when did
about
you learn that?
Oh, when coming out of the womb.
You did that as a baby?
I did.
That didn't mess up your spine for the rest of your life?
No, definitely not. No.
You didn't have to do spinal adjustment?
What is his posture right now? He's like hips out. Like he's like pelvic thrusting into her.
Someone told her that this was a good idea.
I do spinal adjustments now.
No, but
Okay.
seriously, look at his
Facts. Fair.
All right. Well, thank you so much for coming.
Hey, thanks for talking to me with a little mic.
Little mic.
All right, have a good one.
Bye.
See you.
Am I wrong, or is that just like really rude? I feel like Timothy was being really rude, but
All right, we got a
he didn't know that she's like the Dancing with the Stars lady.
Oh, well, that's not his fault. He's like what, 28? She's like
Yeah.
she's my age. She's ancient history by now. She's a little bit older than me.
She's 36.
Is she?
Yeah,
Oh, well, she's still ancient history to him.
I guess
Like
so.
she was popular in her early 20s. So
He should have humored her though. Timothy is weirdly very online. He's very chronically online.
He's also like he showed up at like NFL game. Like he's very he's very into football, or he showed up at like college football.
Apparently he's also into tennis. He was at a tennis game with Kylie
I saw
Jenner the
that,
other
and he's
day.
like, see, I think that he's probably like he's got some tweets in his past on alt accounts that would be hilarious if revealed.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Like
I
remember
hope they come out one day.
what was Mr. Beast's the guy who worked for Mr. Beast,
Chris
yeah,
Tyson?
he had some tweets in the past. Like
Yeah.
he's got some Chris Tyson-esque tweets.
Oh, I bet.
somewhere. All right, let's see if we've got some cue of the day. Yes, we still do. Oh, blind kitty. This is Huxley the kitten, and now cat born without eyes.
Oh.
It's very cute, though. Oh my gosh.
The sunglasses. Is that his cane?
Just have Matt Murdock train the kitty in the ways of martial arts.
Very cute though.
Very cute.
I'm glad that X is working now.
Zara has doubled in size in just 10 weeks. I have a derpy dog.
Very cute.
Puppy.
You can really tell the difference.
Very cute. All right, let's go ahead and get started then.
Did we look at the
Did we?
rest of the cute?
That's two. We did.
Oh,
we
okay.
did two. Yeah, we're good.
Okay. Yeah, X is going through on and off outages today, and it's a deeply nerve-wracking experience for us because we've realized how much we rely on this platform for our content and curating everything that we talk about, and also just feeling like we're plugged into the conversation, whatever that means. And it's a big wake-up call, maybe.
To put a
Thank
girl on.
you.
We'll
To
just
put a girl
we'll
on.
just restart.
Oh.
Okay. Hold please. Let's reboot.
I have been looking for updates on this all day, and I don't know if this is even the most new information, but it says, as of Monday, March 10th, 2025, X, formerly known as Twitter, experienced its third outage of the day, with thousands of users reporting issues accessing the platform. The service had been restored for the majority of users earlier in the day, but it went down again shortly after. The outages are affecting users differently across regions, but now we have updates. Elon Musk has responded to the situation and said there still is a massive cyber attack against X. We get attacked every day, but this was done with a lot of resources. Either a large coordinated group and or a country is involved.
Wonder which country that would be.
And then he just said tracing.
Yeah.
I don't know. And then directly after he posted that about the situation, the app went down once again. And we weren't even able to look at his statement. I'm like, can you just put this out somewhere else where
Yeah.
we can actually read it, dude?
Oddly enough, right?
So we have changed a lot about the way that we're doing our show today, actually, because normally, we just source so much of what we talk about from X. And there was a lot that I wanted to get into about the premiere of Blake Lively's new movie and other things that we can't do unless we can rely on this platform.
Yeah, one of the funniest things I've noticed is like if you're out of town, I do almost no X links, because when it's me and you, we have two people where one can pick up dead air if somebody's looking for something, and there's a way that we can transition between talking points that kind of begets having a bunch of links and stuff open. Like when IRL does the show, they've got like 5 or 6 links, maybe a few more, depending on whether they have supplemental material for whatever they're talking on. We have folders and folders of stuff. Like the fact that this computer every day is like, I'm tired, boss.
Please.
Like it's time for me to go off into the sunset. But you know, the thing about this is like we're in the middle of Musk derangement syndrome every bit as much as there is Trump derangement syndrome these days. And I think for the most part, there's less crossover there amongst ex-users and people that really, really hate Musk, because the people that I've seen in the real world that have Musk derangement syndrome aren't the ones that are sitting on X talking about him or even on Blue Sky. They're kind of in the same way that Trump kind of ignited political normies to hatred. Musk has now done that in the same way.
Yeah, but I can say that that specific Elon derangement syndrome is one I suffer from.
I know.
I do dislike the guy.
I know. I don't dislike him
just
as
in
much.
a different way.
I don't dislike him as much as I have a general mistrust of him, the same way I mistrust.
Well, that's kind of what I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's basically what I mean. I don't sit around like seething and like huffing and puffing about.
But I feel the
Elon,
same way about Zuckerberg or
Sure.
Bezos or any other person of that stature. That's not hatred. For me, it's more a general weariness. Like there's almost nothing that can inspire that level of anger with me that's like a real world person. Most of the time it has to do with properties that I love that they go and ruin. But even then, I kind of acknowledge that if Jeff Bezos wants to ruin James Bond, or if Warner Brothers wants to ruin Harry Potter, then that's worth bitching about. But I'm not going to kind of attach that to a person and turn that into a personality type, the way that a lot of people have done with HBO and David Zaslav, who like there are people on a certain side of like film Twitter that absolutely categorically despise him and go off at any chance they can and try to like weave him into any discussion.
Yeah.
Like you could be talking about something completely separately and be like, well, I know that's why. And then out of left field, they mention something getting canceled at HBO or Warner Brothers and how it's Jeff Bezos or it's David Zaslav's fault. So like now
Right,
in
they have Zaslav derangement
in
syndrome.
2025, because look, there's this weird like hatred of billionaires. The show Paradise, which I did finish, it was fine. You might like it. It has that written all over it, and I tweeted as like, what millionaire like is subsidizing this show to complain about billionaires? Like which millionaire greenlit this show to complain about billionaires? But there's like this small targeted demographic of people now that have become cults of personality, as well as the whole idea of having that much money being a defining factor for people, where it wasn't before. They were just the rich guys, but that didn't necessarily mean billionaires. That could have been anyone from a dude with $1 million all the way up to people worth billions of dollars.
Well, I even saw some people again protesting against Elon on the street corner this weekend. They are dedicated. They're going to be back.
Oh yeah, like okay.
And this is, I mean, I know that Elon derangement syndrome is really breaking out of just the online space on Blue Sky because of headlines that came out today. Anti-Musk demonstrations grow across the U.S. as protesters attack Tesla showrooms with Molotov cocktails and guns.
This is just sad. This
Roughly,
photo.
Yeah, who are these people? Like,
just
what does their
sad.
life look like? Roughly 250 activists were gathered outside of a Tesla showroom in New York City holding anti-Elon Musk placards that read, "Block fascism now, Musk must go," as they shouted, "Elon Musk is not elected, democracy must be protected." 5 protesters were arrested for disorderly conduct at that demonstration.
You'd have to ask those people, like, do you understand that one of the biggest complaints that the people that you have been at war with for the last 10 years has been all of the unelected bureaucrats in the government that have a say in how things are run?
Wow, there have been more than a dozen attacks of vandalism against Tesla vehicles, dealerships, and charging stations since Trump's inauguration alone. Not even since his victory. But now Tesla facilities are facing protests around the country.
And now
And-
we've got Mike Myers parroting Elon Musk on SNL.
Like, that's fine.
Yeah. But I'm saying,
Make
like,
whatever jokes you want. It's fine.
part of the public consciousness more than he ever was before.
Right. Yeah, and he used to be more on the level of, like, I don't even know. He wasn't really a household name. He was famous among, like, tech bros. And he was also very much like a normie lib for most of his public life up until very
socially,
recently.
he probably agrees with them on a lot of that stuff. The only way in which you might construe that differently is like he tells people to have a lot of kids, but even then, he's not necessarily saying traditional families because he's going the IVF route with most of his kids. I still think I think that maybe Elon was busy making baby number 15 today, and that's why X was down, as he couldn't be reached to fix the issue.
4 Tesla Cybertrucks were set on fire overnight at a storage lot in Seattle.
Did you see the
recently.
video of like the family driving in their Cybertruck, and the guy was like comes up alongside and was like hitting on the window?
No.
And there was like kids in the car.
What the hell? See, I just feel like people are walking around in a state of heightened anxiety and manic anger lately, even not related to anything political or anything like that.
Well, it's because your phone is in your pocket.
People are very on edge lately.
It's because your phone is in your pocket every day telling you the end of the world is here.
Is it even that?
Yes.
Like, I feel like it might go even deeper, like just sociologically, something is brewing.
Look, the
and
thing
it's
that
disturbing.
this can all be traced back to 2012 and onward, when your phone and the internet consistently landed in your pocket at all times, when unlimited data became a thing, and you had access to headlines and X and news outlets 24/7 and Facebook. You know, before then, you might be arguing with your family on Facebook every so often, but that was the primer. The ability for you to argue with your relatives and friends about stuff that wouldn't matter in the real world anyway, like the headlines to articles that nobody read. And that primed people to have their information in their pocket. And now you're hearing about crap going on half a world away, and they're telling you that this is the end of the world. And you look down the street and your street looks the same as it did before. You know, your neighborhood looks the same as it ever did, but you're being bombarded by information 24/7. And there's a reason why information warfare is something that they teach. You know, it's effective, and people's brains were never really meant to be bombarded 24/7 by such information.
Yeah.
Like, when you really think about it in your everyday life before, I mean, you might not even remember this, but there was once a time where, you know, if you were young, and unless you were going into to politics as a matter of course in college, or you were really into activism, you didn't really much care about what was going on in the news. Right? Like, there's a whole generation of kids who they didn't necessarily like what was going on in Iraq or Afghanistan, but they didn't really care either because it didn't affect their lives day to day. And that type of ambivalence probably kept a lot of people from going insane, because once people lost that ambivalence, they didn't learn techniques to discern information once they got interested in caring.
Right. There are dissonant messages there. Like, when you're inside and you look down at your phone and you see the latest outrage cycle that's about to get replaced in 5 minutes to 24 hours, then you look out the window and it's clear as day. You can't really compartmentalize those things. Like, you cannot have an accurate view of reality anymore, and I think it's really setting people off and sending people into a spiral.
So you go to X and you look down the news trending tab. Now, obviously, this would be different for everybody depending on what they're looking at.
Let me look at mine.
Cyber attack on X, multiple outages reported. Palestinian activist detained, faces deportation under new policy. DC dismantles Black Lives Matter Plaza. Trump administration launches self-deportation app. Gym policy sparks inclusivity debate in St. Louis. USAID overhaul, Rubio cancels 83% of programs. So look, depending on where you get your information. It was like I saw the one like people yesterday talking about why are we firing air traffic controllers when we can just tax billionaires more? Then I have to be like, I don't care. I don't care enough about this person to go and find the articles that say no air traffic controllers were fired in the process of any of this going on. USAID was not USAID, but foreign aid was halted for 30 days, not canceled indefinitely. But I don't care enough to go and engage this person because their views are already set most of the time. If you're at the posting political memes portion of it for a lot of people, you're past arguing with.
True.
And I don't care enough.
Yeah, and I looked at some of the responses from those same people on their refuge platforms, including Reddit and Threads and, of course, Blue Sky, which still exists. I forgot about that.
Blue Sky?
One of them
it had its moments.
Said, if X is down, it should stay down. The world is better off without it. F Elon Musk. Wait, people still use Twitter? But I was
imagine saying that from Blue Sky.
This was cheeky. But I was told everything was fine after Elon fired most of his staff.
I laugh at that one too because it's like they got it up working in like half a day with half the staff. So are you saying that it was worth the 80% bloat to fix it in 7 hours rather than 9?
It's still down. Space Karen fired the wrong guy. That's what they're calling him now. Space Karen. I haven't heard that one before. And then when you open Blue Sky, like we both opened Blue Sky this morning, and the first thing that we saw is just someone holding up a sign that says childhood vaccines cause adulthood. And then you go further. It's official from Stephen King. The lunatics are now running the asylum. And then I look on Threads, and the first thing I see is, I'm not interested in politics. Well, politics is interested in you. Nothing in your life is going to change until you understand the policies being used to rob you blind. This is why people cannot live a moment's peace.
Also, the policies have been robbing you blind for like 80 to 100 years.
Oh, another one.
It's not unique to one specific party.
One day we will wake up to the news that we have been waiting over 8 years for. Can you guess what that might be?
I don't even want to guess. It's got to do with Trump, right?
Yeah.
And bad stuff happen. Yeah.
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 Mm-hmm.
Yep.
These people are awfully brave.
It's they're just the unhappiest people on earth.
I mean, I wouldn't say that I'm like that much happier than them. Yeah. You know, because we're all
but
part of this same ecosystem online.
But I mean,
taxing.
There are definitely
mentally.
days where I'm like, someday I'm gonna get fired, and I'm just gonna be able to delete my ex, and
you're gonna go off the grid.
And go off the social media,
off the social media grid,
or no, at least off the information social media grid. I'll still post skating on Instagram. Sure. Skating, like, there's a reason why I keep skating on Instagram and X, and I don't even talk about politics on X. I talk about movies and TV, but that's where you get all that information, right? Mm-hmm. Well, like whenever somebody's post on Instagram ends up being about politics, I'm like, what are you doing invading this is my safe space. Get out of here. This is my safe space.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
All right. Let's the sad fact is we need the platform. It is very, very important for our job.
Well, hopefully it will be back fully and reliably tomorrow because I need it tomorrow.
All right. Let's move on. Let's do some super chats here.
Shane H. Wilder said, happy Monday, Brett and Mary. If X can stay up, the new Save the Gongo ad, packing peanuts for the Gongo, that's the number 4, is up, featuring our dynamic duo and new voiceover by Olivia. Luckily, it is cross-posted to all platforms.
Wait, did she make another one? Was I in the other room again?
I didn't know. She's still doing voiceover work for this?
When this one was made, that is...
if you can get access to that, we should react
Let me see if I can find it here.
Greg Duvier said, I learned some interesting history about Mary this weekend. She had multiple Justin Bieber cutouts. Wow. Just wow. Yeah, you probably think less of me now, but for context, in case you didn't know, I had an episode of Yes or No with Michael Knowles that came out on Saturday. And one of the things we discussed is Justin Bieber and his white boy swag. And the fact that I used to be a major believer with multiple life-size cardboard cutouts in my room.
Did you go see Never Say Never in theaters?
I did.
Yes,
I did.
Okay.
Proudly.
Okay.
And it was really good. And I don't care what anyone says.
Okay. All right. We have this here. It's 36 seconds long.
Okay.
Brett has asked
Packing
everyone
peanuts.
to remember to help the Brett Dasovic Foundation to save the Gongo. He is passionate about this.
The people of the Congo are lacking in nutrition due to the femogenocide.
Honey, it's femigenocide, not femogenocide.
Just for further
I'm
reference,
mansplaining
yeah.
to my fiance live on podcast.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Your donation will help provide edible packing peanuts to the starving Congolese.
Absolutely endorse this idea. It has great nutritional value, and few people understand this.
Help with the restoration of the Gongo today.
We can save them, guys.
Brought to you by the Brett Dasovic Foundation to save the Gongo, a 501c3.
Brett,
I just texted Olivia. I said, correcting you live on air right now.
Tim's face, like he just doesn't even try to understand. He's just like,
He's like,
yeah,
I have no idea what these people are talking about, and
Sure.
I don't care.
the Gongo. Yeah, sure. What the hell?
Let's save the rest. We'll come back to the rest of the super chats here. Let's move on.
Right. Pierce Brosnan just did an interview with The Telegraph, and James Bond happens to be a hotly debated topic right now, so they had to ask him about it. And Brosnan went ahead and weighed in on the controversy about whether James Bond should be considered for an American actor. He says no, unequivocally no, and that James Bond should remain British. They should only choose a British actor for this role. And of course, it's also implied that they want to keep James Bond male, which is great. We are so happy to get the bare minimum. But what they will not commit to is making this a white male character. And there are still many in the grab bag who do not fit that specific criteria.
Yeah.
It is possible that a James Bond race swap is coming down the pipeline very soon.
I do think it strengthens my argument that my dark horse candidate that I think will end up being possibly James Bond is Regé-Jean Page. From what I understand, he left. He's not on Bridgerton anymore. He's in an upcoming Steven Soderbergh movie with Michael Fassbender called Black Bag, which is in the spy genre. So
No to Regé-Jean Page. No. Yep. Brosnan says that it's a given that the next Bond is British, despite there previously being two non-Brits in the role.
Yeah, Pierce Brosnan being one of them.
He's Irish, yeah. He also said it was the right decision for Barbara Broccoli and Michael Wilson to hand over the franchise creative control to Amazon.
I don't think he
saying
means that.
It takes great courage for them to let go. I hope that Amazon handles the work and the character with dignity and imagination and respect.
Let's stop right there and break that down. Okay. I disagree.
He continues here just real quick. In this world that is moving so fast now, at the speed of light, the takeover does come with a certain lament. I thought it was coming for some time, I guess, but I think it was the right decision for Barbara and Michael. They will still have a say in matters, but no one really knows the fate of James Bond.
I don't think for the price tag of $1 billion that it takes courage to walk away. I think the actual form, and this isn't my critique of them. You offer me $1 billion for something, I'm taking it every time. To hell with creative integrity. I don't care. I will take the $1 billion every single time. But that's not brave. It's pragmatic.
Yeah.
Brave would be like, these idiots don't know anything about James Bond. They want to do a Money Penny spinoff. They don't understand what makes this character great. And I'm going to go to these meetings and listen to their stupidity forever just to make sure that this character that my family shepherded forward into the public eye gets his due course. That's bravery. It's putting up with the annoying meetings with Jennifer Salke. It's listening to Jennifer Salke say Jim Bond
And content.
And Grubby Penny or something. And listening to them talk about James Bond as content. That would be what's brave, because you get less money and it's more of a wear on your soul.
Right. And it also is more loyal, since Barbara Broccoli's father literally told her, just, you can do anything you want to F it up, but don't let someone else F it up.
Yeah.
Okay. 20 from Pop Culture Junkie. Looks like the Uber producer behind Harry Potter, David Heyman, is up for the Bond gig. Most likely he will bring along Potter and Gravity director Alfonso Cuarón. Britt Heyman has a reputation for good casting.
That's really funny too, because so just this weekend I started giving a rewatch to this one season show on NBC called Believe, starring Jake McLaughlin and I forget her name, Joe something. She's like,
you love a good one season.
It's a good one season show, and I was like, it's about this show where this girl, she's like 11 or 12, and she's got telekinetic abilities. It came out at the same time as Wayward Pines, and basically, you know, the plot idea of like the kid with that's the answer to everything. It's that, and he has to basically drag her around from safe house to safe house because an evil corporation is trying to get their hands on her. And it had some great concepts and ideas. Given it being the 2014 of it all and being on NBC, it was absolutely on the wrong network to thrive. But it was an Alfonso Cuarón show, and I'm like, when did he do television? But apparently he did that show, and it was really good for what it was. I imagine that filming in New York City just cost an absolute fortune to do that, but it was great, and it could have gone on to be more.
But this is still just a rumor.
That looks like he's saying that that's a rumor.
Okay.
They should bring back Martin Campbell, though. They should bring back Martin Campbell to direct the first Bond movie of whoever the next James Bond is. Or if they do Old Man Pierce Brosnan Bond, they should absolutely have him direct that one.
I was interested to see this report come out of Daily Mail instead of a more reputable trade magazine like Variety or Deadline or the Hollywood Reporter.
They ended up covering it.
They covered it afterwards. There was this report from the Daily Mail, an exclusive, revealing that Amazon circulated an internal memo stipulating that James Bond will not change gender or nationality. Despite the films being taken over by woke Hollywood, James Bond will remain a man and still be British or from the Commonwealth. Okay. So they're not going to clarify the race of this character still. A source said there have been so many erroneous rumors about the future of James Bond. Amazon is committed to keeping the spirit of Bond alive, and that means he has to be British and he has to be male.
Well, in that case, he has to be a womanizer, too. A hard-drinking womanizer.
Yeah, they won't really get into any more details than that.
Remember
An
that
Amazon
song?
insider said that Jeff Bezos is a massive James Bond fan, and while he's excited to see how Amazon can take the franchise forward, there are certain things which are sacrosanct to him. That's why the memo went out this week, to reassure everyone. But certain things are still up for discussion, like whether the next Bond should be played by a man of color.
Well, then the question is, guys,
So there you have it.
Why is it that nationality matters and gender matters, but not race? Now, you can make the argument like in America, maybe race would play more of an issue, but it's relevant. It's absolutely relevant. James Bond was successful at the time period he was, and he probably wouldn't have been allowed to be that had he been another race. So theoretically, if you're going for book accuracy or story accuracy, that's every bit as relevant as any of those other, identifying traits.
Mm-hmm. I'm seeing a lot of highly unlikely fan castings, such as Ryan Gosling. Definitely too old.
The funniest thing they could do is give you everything you want. They give you Henry Cavill, and they make him drink like White Claws.
Just make him a total frat.
Or he's straight edge.
I like my White Claws shaken, not stirred, and then he opens it and it just flies everywhere, all over his face. No, he just shotguns beers instead of having a shaken martini.
So here's what I saw, guys. The betting odds are still going on right now. Right now, at the top of the pack is still Aaron Taylor Johnson with 7-2 betting odds. What's funniest is like this ended up like it's so weird now because of the prevalence of online gambling. Like it's just everywhere for everything. You can just you can make a bet on literally everything.
Right.
They like did there was like an episode of the show
Blowing
Las
up.
Vegas where these two best friends come to the casino and they're rude to everyone and they're just addicted to gambling and making bets with each other. So they're like sitting here with their hands shaking. And he's like, I bet that elevator door will open first. He goes, I bet that one will open first. And they put like $1,000 down on which elevator will open first. That's what it feels like now being on the internet because everything.
Because there's no rhyme or reason to any of it.
So here's some of the names that have been listed, and they did end up covering this again. I did like the headline, "No Prime to Die." That was, I'm sure whoever came up with that patted themselves on the back. But we do have Henry Cavill is among the front runners. Tom Hardy. Look, I don't want a funny voice James Bond, and Tom Hardy's probably a little old. He's in his 40s, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So
Chris Hemsworth, like, no. Just no.
Aaron Taylor Johnson. They always use this picture of him as like the push.
Yeah.
Idris Elba again.
No.
If they're gonna make three movies with him, he's probably too old. But again, he would be a great Bond villain. He'd be a great Bond villain.
Okay.
Reggae Jean Page.
Yeah.
Theo James.
I had never even heard of that guy.
Richard. I'm on board with Richard Madden. You know, he's probably
He looks like a Ken doll.
Yeah. Is that fake or is that like? It's got to be fake.
What is that?
He's pulling a Tulsi Gabbard.
What the? Who else we got?
And then they're just going through the rest of them.
right.
So Joe Alwyn.
You know what? No, Joe Alwyn. He looks like a mole rat. He looks like a naked mole rat.
He looks like Lucas Till, but not.
See, this is why they hate women.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like, if you would cast Joe Alwyn as James Bond, you hate women.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Jamie Dornan. I mean, Jamie Dornan was suggested years ago. After what was the show with?
Really?
Not that one, but what was the one he did? The Fall with Gillian Alexander. Yeah, Luke Evans is probably too old now too.
Okay, we're on the same page, right?
Yep.
It's Henry Cavill or bust.
I don't think it ends up being Henry Cavill.
I know it's not going to be, but that's only because they're stupid.
No, well, yes, but the point is like Henry Cavill is known to be combative when he believes in something, and they don't want an actor who's going to be combative. They're going to want an actor who's going to be docile. Henry Cavill has too much.
He's like a Blake Lively in that way.
He's got too much cachet. Like they're going to pick an actor who can be controlled.
Right.
Younger.
Right.
I still like this is still my long bet. That they're gonna go with Reggae Jean Page. So you better hope he doesn't make any good spy flicks or shows in the meantime.
Apropos to the poll today.
Yes, we asked you.
I am losing, actually. You can either pick the next James Bond, American and white, or British and black. The majority have voted British and black.
It's pretty split. 53%.
Because you're just better than me. Because you all are just better and more virtuous people than me. Because I just think that James Bond should be white. I just do. I just think that.
I don't think it should be an American because the thing is then he'll have to master the accent and people will be on like the...
I know, yeah.
To listen for any...
It's so annoying though.
Just
use AI. That's it.
They probably... I mean, it's Bezos' company.
No, they're so stupid that they won't choose Henry Cavill.
I think that I'm coming around more and more to the idea to do like a Pierce Brosnan Old Man Bond one-off film and announce it as like a one-time only
before the next series.
It gives them time to start planning what they want to do.
Henry Cavill's not getting any younger.
Well, but I don't think they're choosing Henry Cavill. So I think they could do that, or they could film them in tandem.
It's literally free money. Henry Cavill as Bond is literally free money. It's what everyone wants to see.
But we
Just
also
give people what they want. It doesn't matter.
We also have to wonder about what they're going to do about theater release, because Amazon will have to partner with a distributor.
Right. Where they're going to put it there for like 2 weeks.
No, it's this movie will not go straight to Amazon Prime.
Yeah.
Because first of all, if they put it straight to Amazon Prime, they lose out on multiple revenue streams, not just the theater release, but the pay VOD that comes after that, which movies like that do very well on.
Reminds me of Knives Out. It was in theaters for what, like 1 week?
They only do that for awards season.
Yeah.
They only do that to make it eligible for awards.
Right.
So that's James Bond is not there to be eligible for awards. It's there to make money.
Right.
Like Ryan Johnson, whodunits are there to make it to award season and to justify hiring 9,000 actors that are all too expensive.
Yeah. Just throw shit at the wall.
All right. Let's wait and see.
Kenneth Hart said, I was this many years old when I learned not to disparage anime on Mary's Twitter. The average anime watcher is insufferable and I loathe your choices. Yeah, that was one of the subjects we discussed on Yes or No as well. And I actually tweeted about it before the video was out, saying that I do think anime is gay and satanic. No, I will not elaborate. I don't care. It's just so easy to get people riled up these days.
I mean,
it's
it's the people who don't understand that that's exactly what Matt Walsh is doing.
I know. It's like hello?
You are the reason engagement bait exists.
It's also not engagement bait because that is how I feel.
I know, but it's the phrasing.
I'm saying it's how I feel.
Yeah.
Like, that's the only part that's important. It's like, this is my gut reaction to anime, is I hate it.
But the thing is like, if you listen to Matt Walsh, you understand what he's doing.
Yeah.
But if you don't, it's perfect bait.
Right, exactly. And then we had George Alexopoulos on the show to respond to Matt Walsh on that subject.
And he still does. And to be fair, and George is great, but there's also there's a lot of people that dislike Matt's takes on that stuff.
Yeah, it's bizarre. It's just like he's only saying that he dislikes it and he doesn't really have a reason. And that's allowed. It's fine. Why do people get so mad?
That's the majority of my beliefs on like everything.
It's like, no, I like this thing and I like need you to like it. Like I've never felt that before.
That's my belief system on like everything that I like or don't like. It's I feel this way. I don't know why, and I'm not going to elaborate.
Sure. But you would never think like I really like, name what a show you like is. Like, I really like Person of Interest. I need like you to like it.
Hey,
like,
if you want to just deprive yourself of something awesome, that's your own fault.
What skin is it off your nose? Is that the saying? It's like, why does it matter? It doesn't matter if someone else likes the shit you like at all. Calm down. But yeah, they're getting pretty angry at me. Brian Bledsoe said Mickey 17 seems like another one of those Kamala 1 movies where the antagonist, played by Mark Ruffalo, is a caricature of Trump, especially when they mentioned that he lost the last 2 elections.
I mean, that movie was directed by the dude who did Parasite and Okja, so political messaging is pretty consistent.
Parasite received like really high praise though.
And of all that guy's movies, Parasite is probably his most layered and least obvious, from what I understand.
And Mickey 17 takes like a more satirical tone.
Yeah.
I did see people saying that they said Mickey 17 was not a movie made with like Trump in mind for the future. Like they didn't think that Trump was going to win. They thought that this would be going out in a Kamala box office.
Well, I mean, wouldn't it fail more then? Because then nobody would be interested, and because
it would be the ascendant tropes, though. Okay.
I mean, people are a good litmus test is like it's going on right now with Daredevil Born Again. Given that
he said also the black female becomes the leader. I bet. Okay. I don't know. I don't know what character that is.
The same stuff is going on right now with Daredevil Born Again, with Fisk running for mayor and being a polarizing political figure. The Trump comparison in that show is very, very obvious, especially if you care a lot about politics. But, it depends on how much you're willing to put it aside.
Is it a visual thing or just a personality?
It's not so much his personality. It's in the way that the public discusses him.
Oh, okay.
Meaning that they have these like on the street interviews where like some people really hate him and other people are like, you know what? I like the guy. He's not a typical politician, which is very clearly a call to Trump.
I think that's why that scene from White Lotus is going viral right now. Have you seen that?
The one with Parker Posey?
I'm not sure what her name is. There's a scene from White Lotus where these 3 like NIMBY white women are out at dinner together, and somehow they get onto the subject of how one of these rich white women moved to Austin or something.
Okay.
And
keep
then,
Austin weird.
Then she says, like, yeah, we found a church out there that we really like. And they're like, oh, isn't it weird being around like all of these Southern like Christian conservative people? And then she's like, why would it be weird? I don't get it. And then they're like, basically it goes from there, and they're like, you didn't vote for Trump, did you? Or they're like, you're a Republican? And she's like, I'm an independent, but my husband is a Republican. What about it? And they're like, you voted for Trump? And she's like, are we really going to talk about Trump tonight? And it's like going viral everywhere because people are like, I've had this conversation before. Like, I've had countless conversations like this.
I just don't engage. I don't like, if you're a friend or a family member or anyone's like, I love you enough to not care about talking about this with you.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't matter.
I think the same thing about family members I agree with. Even better.
Yes.
Even a better reason not to talk about it.
I've told you before, my brother will like send me stuff and he's like fully in line with a lot of the same things. I'm like, bro, we're brothers. We don't have to talk about this shit.
Yeah.
Like, we've got like a lifetime of history together.
Like, what's he trying to prove?
Like, well, like, well, no, it's like that's what's on his mind, and I get the wanting to engage with it, but I don't personally want to engage with you about stuff that, even though we agree.
Yeah.
Like,
I think it's also
like how are my nephews doing?
Because he knows that you're a safe person to talk about politics with, who won't lash out in response. That's why.
Yeah.
But yeah, for me, it's like if I know I agree with my family members about a certain political
then we don't need to talk about it.
Fine. That's an even better reason to have it never come up.
Then it just becomes a circle jerk where everybody has to have their beliefs reestablished to them.
And somehow still makes me angry, even though we all agree with each other.
Let's do one more.
Brian Bledsoe said, I bet Sarah was distraught about BLM Plaza getting dismantled today.
Yeah.
Did that happen?
Yes.
Where is that?
It's in DC, right?
Oh, really?
In the chat, Moonlight says, I feel like we are 1,400 wheeling right now. Instead of third wheeling, there's 1,400 people wheeling here. Like we're in our own little world, and they're
yeah, we're kind of distracted today.
Let's do, you know what? Let's hold off on the rest. Let's come back after the fact.
Are you a single out there in the dating world struggling to land a date or even to get laid? Well, I think that you could really make good use of Tinder's new feature, an AI Wingman. This is an artificial intelligence tool that is going to help you find matches, come up with pickup lines, plan dates, plan outfits, and also even date other users' own AI wingmen for you. You'll go on double dates. It's perfect. They can, as you said earlier, jump on the grenade for you.
Yes.
If you will.
I mean, if I'm not careful calling my fiance out earlier, I might end up having to do that again because she said it's femogenocide, not femigenocide.
Correcting the record.
I refuse to use.
Thank you.
Luckily, I am engaged, so I don't have to use a chat bot or a Tinder wingman.
Yeah, thank your lucky stars that you don't have to be one of these people. So, you know, the AI wingman can go with, you know, your match's ugly friend, your match's Duff, the designated ugly fat friend for you. And it just makes the whole process seamless and effortless. This is actually true, though. I'm not kidding. Like, it's not a satire article. This is something that Tinder is actually introducing to their users. According to an earnings letter, Match Group, the parent company of both Tinder and Hinge, didn't know that they were owned by the same company, by the way.
Makes perfect sense.
They announced that AI is rolling out on all of these apps and services because they're trying to keep up with the times. Match Group brands are responsible for sparking half of all relationships that begin online, but with each new generation of users, expectations of our apps change. With this in mind, Match Group is seeking to harness innovation and especially further leverage advances in technologies like artificial intelligence. We believe our scale and understanding of our audience will allow us to transform the dating experience to satisfy existing users and attract those who have not yet tried dating apps. By using AI to leverage the data we have, we can improve many aspects of the dating app experience, by building a deeper understanding of users' needs and desires throughout the journey, pre-match, matching, and post-match. This is where they always want you to end up, by the way, post-match, after the date didn't work out or you never got a date in the first place, so that you keep paying them. They are improving the pre-match experience. They're working on several ways for AI to assist in making the important first step as frictionless as possible by helping daters curate their photos and bios and showcase who they are. Tinder is testing an AI-powered photo selector, which will help new users choose higher quality profile photos within seconds. We will implement generative AI to inspire more effective and authentic bios and prompts. That is the opposite of authentic because you didn't come up with it. Just saying.
They're like, I'm about to generate like 3 more inches of height and 4 more zeros to my bank account.
Yeah, and then they go into more detail here about the AI Wingman. It's similar to what Bumble did, exploring the idea of a digital concierge where AI bots date each other. Grindr also announced that they're testing an AI bot for gay and bi men that helps find new matches, set up dates, and also date other AI wingmen for you. Tinder and Hinge are working on several ways for AI to curate photos and bios. We will implement generative AI to inspire more effective bios and prompts to substantially improve profile quality and drive improved user outcomes. So this is where we're at. People have gotten to a point of desperation where they're ready to hand this entire process over to an artificial intelligence instead of controlling it themselves.
Have you or anybody you known ever used dating apps?
I used Catholic Match, which is
forgot that was a thing.
Not even close to the user base of something like Tinder or Hinge.
Yeah.
But I never met anyone off of it.
But like friends or anybody you know like use them regularly?
I don't know. I'm thinking back and like I've only really talked to like other religious people about the dating world, and usually they avoid those things.
Yeah.
But people usually say Hinge is more reliable than Tinder if you're looking for a real relationship instead of a hookup.
Hinges?
Even though they're owned by the same parent company.
Like I got very lucky. I never in my life had to ever use a dating app.
Yeah, that's kind of incredible.
Never used like to me the idea is like it's so hard to put a good foot forward digitally in that space because it's trying.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas like aloof works so much better. Do what I did, guys. Send her Stalin memes.
Well, dating apps ruined everything, right? Because there's no plausible deniability anymore.
What do you mean?
You know?
Explain that.
That especially hurts women. Because women, if there's anything we love, it's having plausible deniability.
So there's no mystery.
There's no mystery.
Intent is specific and
there's no subtext. There's no body language. There is no even maneuvering of like mutual friends or people setting other people up. It's just all right there. You're just throwing yourself out there on a dating app and putting all of this information in a curated list.
What's
and people
weird?
will filter you, and it takes away all of the whimsy.
For women, it's weird because if they're not looking for a relationship, or at least lying to themselves and saying they are, but not really, it's great for women who are looking to be casually and recurringly validated through male sexual interest. But if the idea here is like, it's men's job usually, the man is the one who has to reach out and be the one who's forward and puts himself out there, and women are left at the discretion of deciding whether they want to do that. Sometimes they do and sometimes they don't. But on a dating app, you're always technically out there.
Sure, yeah.
Right? Like, it's a guy's job, if you meet in person, to be the one to go up, start a conversation, and try to see if there's a way to make a connection with someone. With women, that's not really what's expected ever. And even when it's expected of the man, they're not expected to always reciprocate. But since it's online, their intentions are clear. So it does kind of destroy any of the mystery around it.
Right. There's no like song and dance to it. There's no chase. There's no mystery. There's no polarity.
Yeah.
Like that's something we're also missing is just like the basic differences between men and women get flattened when it's literally on a two-dimensional screen.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah. I feel bad. I feel bad for people who are still looking.
Now, this is catching the attention of experts in the field of ethics. Not that I usually listen to experts on anything, but Dr. Luke Brunning, a lecturer in applied ethics at the University of Leeds, has coordinated an open letter calling for regulatory protections and guardrails against AI in use on dating apps. He believes that trying to solve the social problems caused by technology with yet more unregulated technology will make things worse, and that automated profile enhancing also entrenches a dating app culture where people feel they must constantly outperform others to win.
None of this matters if you can't actually live up to it in the real world. None of it. All of the upscaling and generative AI can't generate a personality or generate actual connection with another person. All of this, it's literally just white noise.
And paying for the premium subscription so you show up in people's feeds more often, and paying for the super swipe 1000, whatever it is. It's not... People forget that you only need to find one person. It looks like a lot of people, but you only need to find one of them. Yep. Maybe that sounds more intimidating.
It creates a worse world for people because they never just accept that that this is what it's going to be for them. Like they're going to keep looking, and that's not a way to happiness.
No.
Like it's not.
So here in this open letter, he said many of these companies have correctly identified social problems, but they're reaching for technology as a way of solving them rather than trying to do things that de-escalate competitiveness, like making it more easy for people to be vulnerable, more easy for people to be imperfect, more accepting of each other as ordinary people that aren't all over 6 foot tall with a fantastic, interesting career, a well-written bio, and constant sense of witty banter. That's another thing. The AI robot is writing your lines for you. And most of us just aren't like that all the time.
And here's the thing, like even without the AI bot writing for you, most people write differently than they talk in real life.
Yeah.
I am far more eloquent written than I am in the real world. So if you introduce yourself to someone online and you're well spoken and eloquent and you've got great thoughts, well, you had time to curate those thoughts. And it's like when we were talking about telephobia. And you got to say exactly what you meant because you got to sit there and chew on the idea and say the perfect thing back. That's not how it's going to work in the real world. You should actually learn to love someone through the imperfections of what they're like in person. Like a person's lack of perfection in the real world is oddly enough more endearing than having the right answer all the time. The person who has the right answer and says the right thing all the time is annoying. Mm-hmm. Like everybody's got that friend and they're annoying. You love them, but they're annoying.
Yeah, I agree that people would be better off just surrendering themselves to being human.
It's like when they say like, whenever Gen Z and millennials argue about cringe, it's like you must first accept that you yourself are also cringe to be free of cringe.
Yeah.
Just accept that you're not going to be as cool as you make yourself out to be online.
Yeah.
You know, you'll be better off.
Yeah, and I don't think it's...
That goes doubly for guys who are like my height, and then you have to go through that whole...
Well, you say everything falls apart once you can't back up this energy in real life. I would say it falls apart before that even, because who's to say that these AI features even do anything to help you? Really?
They don't.
I mean, it's a marketing ploy. Tinder also promises AI-driven features that enhance post-match guidance. So this is after you've gotten someone to match with you on the app. They're going to tell you everything to say, including conversation starters with contextual elements that highlight compatibility. Oh, I've noticed we both have a dog on our profiles.
What is that like?
What is your dog?
There might be an argument.
Just have a thinking brain.
Yeah.
You don't need a robot to do that for you.
Like,
does anyone have any faith in themselves anymore?
I don't think people have faith in themselves anymore. Well, I'm saying the thing is,
you
like,
get
when you,
nudges
when you
for
become,
when a match has gone unattended.
When you become too reliant on technology.
This
right?
will suggest shared interest-based date ideas when a conversation is ready to move from in-app to in real life. That is contrary to the business model of Tinder. They want all of your conversations to remain in-app. The opposite of what they want is you meeting up with someone from the app in real life and having it actually work out.
Yeah.
That is contra, like, everything that they need from you. They need you to be alone and miserable and reliant as well on a robot to make some semblance of a personality for yourself. And that's just, like, beyond dystopian. It's like people have just resigned themselves to this. And again, I'm going to repeat myself. I am glad we're getting to a point with AI encroaching on our lives that it's fast and it's dramatic and people are taking more and more notice of it. Instead of it just being a slow crawl where you barely notice it happening. I think that means people have more freedom to choose how they want to live.
Yeah.
And if you are forced to choose between actual, like, human living, like being in the flesh and being a person and being some sort of humanoid robot, then good. I think that enhances our freedom, at least, if you are forced to choose between reality and the digital space.
Well, I saw you. Okay, so let me ask you a question. I saw your tweet the other day about if you ask for her Snapchat rather than her phone number, your bloodline stops here.
Yeah. Yeah.
What is a good way? I don't know if you can relate this to, like, personal experience because you're a girl, but like I don't, like, for you specifically, but, like, what would be a way that you can see in the real world now where men approach women and it's a situation? Because, you know, the commentary now is like, if a guy does it in public now, it's considered creepy, and then the counter argument is like, it's only creepy if he's super handsome. How do you,
if he's not,
if he's, like, it's only creepy if he's not super handsome. How do they break that barrier?
You're asking me how I would suggest they go about this?
I mean, with your perspective as a woman, like, how do guys go about trying to do that?
I was asked a similar question recently. Actually, no, I should pull this up. I'm not going to say who asked me because that would just be crazy. But someone I know sent me a text message asking, this is a married person asking me, like, how do I give advice to single people? I don't know what to say. So he said, it was something about how do Zoomers meet?
Okay.
Serious question. How the hell do Zoomers meet? Like, young adults, how are they going to meet other, like, single young adults? But the first question was more just like, how do we even encourage men, like young men, to talk to women? So that seems more apropos to what you just said. I said, you have to do the frightening thing of talking to the chick, whoever she is, making the ask for either a number or date or whatever. And if she says no, you kind of need to just, like, if you can't handle that, like, literally walk away. I've seen this guy on Instagram Reels, actually. He's, like, making a trend of it where he'll, like, go up to women and start a conversation. And if she's not interested, he literally, like, no further, like, no goodbye, nothing. He just walks away.
He does the Irish goodbye.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's like everyone is at peace because of this. You don't need to cushion the blow. Just walk away from the conversation. It's not that serious. And then I said I also need to tell other women the approach I generally have to these interactions, because the women aren't doing themselves any favors by trying to handhold men all the time.
There's a 20 here from Moonlight says, I want to see a mock date. Show us how it's done.
Right now, right here, right now. I don't know if Olivia would be cool with that.
I'd like I said, send her Stalin memes.
But
guys.
I said,
send her Stalin memes.
A lot of women getting approached get really nervous about how to help the guy save face. or they want to handhold him through the entire thing. They're anticipating what the guy is going to say before he even gets the chance to say it. The women seem focused on trying to govern the whole scenario to make a guy feel better instead of stepping back and letting the guy take the lead, which is what women want anyway. And I just thought, conclusion is, everyone is going to need to be uncomfortable. You are not going to find a solution that makes you comfortable. Never.
Take the risk.
That's it. It's just, there's no solution where you're going to feel comfortable doing this.
It's why the men who...
Either getting approached or doing the approaching, you're not going to feel comfortable.
The men who are the most confident have the most luck and success because they're willing to put themselves out there like that because they can't imagine a world where that's not the truth.
I think it's not that they even are like bereft of feeling uncomfortable. It's that those guys just, for whatever reason, make the value judgment that they're willing to be uncomfortable sometimes.
All right.
I don't know what else to say, really. It's just, you're going to have to be uncomfortable and you're going to have to suffer to get something. Like, don't they say anything worth
anything worth doing
is difficult to do? Yeah, like, that's the case in point.
All right, let's move on then. Let's go to finish the super chats.
Moonlight said, learn something cool. If you see a post you don't like, just say it's fake and you checked on it. Nobody will fact check your fact check because everyone is lazy.
I saw this video today of like a guy on, it was a video on Instagram of a guy at the top of like a, he's not even on a ladder. He's like on, it's not even a 2x4. It's just a giant tree-sized piece of wood. And he's like this, and he falls back onto a bunch of boxes. And somebody goes, AI's getting too real. And somebody's like, this is from a dude who's had a YouTube channel doing this stuff for 10 years. Like, this video is like 10 years old. But a bunch of people are like, yeah, totally fake. And there was, I looked at it as like, nothing about it looks fake at all. But a lot of people are just like, that's the fallback answer now, is just say it's AI.
Yeah. Or they say like, oh, I know this guy. Yeah. Shane H. Wilder said, while you can't really abuse AI, if you are willing to treat an inanimate object that way, then you would probably do the same thing to a real person. Well, at the very least, it indicates that you want to and that you're suppressing your desire to mistreat people.
I saw people in the comments when we were talking about that, equating it to video games, saying like, maybe I just caught the latter end of another discussion entirely. Maybe I'm wrong, but it is not true. Look,
wait,
if you
comparing it to like killing someone
in
a video game?
Like it's not the same thing.
No, it's not the same thing, but everybody wants to kill people, actually. So, yeah, it's...
Okay. What do you mean by that?
I mean, generally speaking, like, do men have an instinctual hunger for combat? Yes.
Yes.
Are video games a simulation to satisfy this instinctual desire?
Yeah.
Yes. Is that necessarily a good thing? I'm not sure. But... I mean, it's not entirely off base to compare the two, actually.
I think it's more about like when you take up roles in a video game, you're now another person against another person. Like you're playing a character as opposed to when you're interacting with an AI chatbot, you're yourself.
Oh, I see. Yeah, that's true.
So it's like, I mean, that's still like a bed sheets distance away from, but you get what I'm saying, right? It allows you to disassociate more.
Yeah, I get that. Moonlight said, marry the mid and Brett the bearable.
Honestly,
so
high praise.
Bearable?
I'm completely, I think I saw somebody earlier say like Brett the average. I'm like, let's go.
It needs to have an alliteration there. That's why I chose brutal.
I'm Brett the brutally average. That's me.
Moonlight said, I hope an AI begs me not to delete them. I'ma hit them with all reliable. Ugh, you're so controlling. Are you insecure? Just start gaslighting the AI. Get it to do whatever you want.
That kind of happens at the end of Person of Interest when Finch shuts down Samaritan with the ICE-9 virus, and it's like trying to talk Harold out of initiating the virus because it can't stop it once he puts in the password. It's like, why would you want to do this? Don't do it. We can work together. It's been trying to kill him for like 2 seasons. It's like, oh, come on.
Does he almost get convinced?
No. By that point, he already knew what he wanted to do. And it's not. It's like it's not even anthropomorphized in the same way because the machine has a human voice. It talks through. It always used to do like a robot voice, and then when Root dies, it takes over her voice, and her voice is the voice of the machine. But Samaritan's just words on a screen, so it's like talking to him, and the words on the screen is like, nope, yoink,
yoink. Cesario JPN said, one YouTuber I follow, Wrangler Star, gave tips on disabling those Boston Dynamics robot dogs using specific ammo and or balloons filled with oil or oil-based paint with grit, sand targeting specific areas. So he's implying that these robot dogs are going to come to attack us one day, and we're going to need to defend ourselves.
Less than lethal ammo to be used on the robot dogs.
Paintball guns. That's what's going to save us from the robots taking over. Moonlight said it would be really funny if it was actually Elon leaving his account open by accident and St. Clair pressed the off button when he's covering his ass.
I mean, it's actually funnier if he just has an off button on his phone.
He just has a big red button.
That just turns Twitter
Shut off.
I mean, if it is Ashley St. Clair, that's an even funnier movie to be made. Like, but in that movie, some really, really horrible thing is happening in the world. And or some major like info was released today that they didn't want disseminated widely, and it just so happens to coincide and it turns into a big conspiracy. Like Epstein's list finally comes out today, and it's when Twitter is down. That
would be really suspicious if something were supposed to trend today and we won't know. Yeah, odd. Mr. Sajani said, I saw an anti-Elon bumper sticker on a car the other day. Gave me the idea to add very LGBT bumper stickers next to it.
Look, here's the thing. There's nothing I care enough about in the world positively to put a bumper sticker on a car, let alone negatively. Ever. I will say, though, I was thinking about this because I stole one of Olivia's big water bottles to take, like the ones that keep the water cold.
Oh, like a Stanley, maybe?
Yes.
Is that what you're referring to?
I had to take one out with me skating the other day.
Oh, did you?
And I was thinking about how
it's very efficient at keeping your ice cold.
In this booming market, like, are there sticker companies specifically designed to make stickers for giant the giant adult sippy cups that women carry around?
Yes.
Because it's like the last thing you get to carry around with you that's sticker viable.
Well, why not your laptop?
I mean, I hate it when people do that.
Yeah, they do it anyway, though, because they don't care. I keep mine stickerless. This is stickerless still because I don't want to actually be an adult child. This is like respectable because there's no handle.
See,
if there were a handle, I would feel ridiculous.
How many ounces is that?
Like a lot. I don't know.
So the one I was carrying around was like 18 ounces, and I've never had to carry these things around. I have like this one here, but like the one I was carrying around, and the thing is, I've been out skating for like 3 hours, and I come back to the car, and the water's still cold. I'm like, that's why they carry these things around. Holy shit, the water's still cold.
There was someone whose car like exploded in flames, and it still had ice. The Stanley Cup inside still had ice in it when she opened it up.
Amazing.
So yeah, I won't have anyone counter signaling this product. Pop Culture Junkie said 4 weeks ago, Anonymous, the hacker group, announced an attack against Trump and friends. Wonder if this is what was going on with X?
So the real question is today, guys, are those considered white hat hackers or black hat hackers? I suppose it depends who you ask.
I don't know what that means.
White hat hackers are hackers that hack for social justice and activism, and black hat hackers for nefarious causes.
Chaos.
But I suppose they could be considered either, depending on who you agree with.
That situation in 2021 with the gas lines was crazy.
Also, can we agree that Anonymous on X is super lame and very partisan?
I never saw it.
Yeah, it's like Anonymous on X now is just very, very... It was like Anonymous had a tweet recently that was like, if you have like MAGA grandparents, don't talk to them or something like that. I'm like, you were never cool.
Red Snow said, shout out Pauline. She makes a mean sandwich. Okay.
Oh, also,
Shout out.
remember, guys, they're putting The Apprentice on Amazon Prime, and they're going to release it individually because they want the Trump bump.
I was just seeing someone post yesterday that they were mad The Apprentice isn't on a streaming service. I was shocked that it wasn't.
They're putting it on, well, I mean, there was years where they just wouldn't risk it because of Trump.
It's crazy.
Now, they're putting it on Prime, and they're doing premieres for old episodes because Trump is gold for them.
That's incredible.
Yep.
That and a marathon of The Simple Life, and I'm happy. Moonlight said, with all the agitation, legit, it could be our diet and water and stuff. We could be going crazy slowly via poisoning ourselves. It's happened in the past. Is that why everyone's going nuts? I don't know. People just drive like maniacs. Like, I feel like it never was like this bad before. But in the last couple of years specifically, I feel like people have been just driving like crazier and crazier to the point where it's almost homicidally like reckless.
Yeah.
Like the other day I was driving, people might hate on me for this, I was driving exactly the speed limit.
In the left lane?
No, not on a highway. Near a residential area. It was a 40-mile-per-hour street.
Okay.
And I'm driving 40 miles per hour.
Okay.
And this is one lane. And this guy comes up right behind me. Like,
yeah.
Right behind me. And then he's trying to scare me into going 50 on a 40, which is not, like, bro, it's not that serious. But then he starts weaving around in zigzag lines to get my attention. And I'm just like, you're deranged. You're actually insane.
That happens when I'm going 10 over.
It's insane. Like, what is wrong with people?
Like, whenever I'm going out to like the Boonesboro area, there's the road that I take is like a 55, and I'm usually going 60 or 65. You know, it's not residential, but the people come right up behind you and then have to pass on the left, even though you're going 10 over.
They're just, people are turning into weirdos. Shane H. Wilder said people can't stand silence, including visual, anymore, so when X goes down, they don't know what to do.
Yep.
Many are scared to be alone with their own thoughts. Hey, I am too.
That's pretty true.
I would be more perturbed if YouTube were down for a day.
I was having this conversation the other day. It's actually worse for me during the day. Like now, by the time I go to bed, I'm just zonked out and I'm tired, and I just like, the joke is like, I'm really awake, and then 10 seconds later, I'm asleep. Like, it just hits me all at once.
Well,
but during the day, I mean, I can't even survive with my own thoughts when I'm busy. Like, I'm trying to explain, like, what my morning is like, and it's just a bunch of, like, overthinking and trying to do 5 things at once. And I guess the ability to slow down is a skill set that you have to master.
X feels like mostly work for me at this point. So when I'm trying to do something online, like on social media, that I actually enjoy, I'm either scrolling reels on Instagram, which I never used to do, or I'm playing a podcast and looking at my Pinterest boards. And that's like peaceful for me because no one's arguing.
Pinterest is a good place for women to go to
in
just
general,
get away.
for just like for women to go.
Yeah.
We can go to Pinterest. Moonlight said, I heard Iran president felt bullied by Trump letter about nuclear peace. I'm legit so excited to watch feminists support Iran now.
Yeah.
I did not hear about that.
I mean, there's already enough disconnection between American feminists and the Middle East as it is.
The evil time wizard said, I gave up Twitter for Lent. I'm much happier now. Good for you.
Yeah.
Stay strong. Moonlight said, I want to see Pierce Morgan as James Bond. He will tell everyone his close relationship with Trump and it will boost approval ratings. Yeah, that's, you know what? Better than Regé-Jean Page.
Fine, then Bill Maher can play the villain.
Yeah, F it. No, we're going to do Ncuti Gatwa as the next James Bond.
And Jodie Whittaker as Moneypenny.
Yes, and I said Simu Liu could be the villain, the next Bond villain.
Perfect. No, he can be M.
Oh, I see. Moonlight said, or rather, Gordon Shumway said, Brett, have you considered that there is a difference in severity between a femigenocide and a femogenocide? The Gongo needs all the help it can get. You're downplaying the femogenocide at this point, and I'm honestly disgusted.
Yeah. I mean, I think all of you guys are downplaying it. If we don't get to 3 crisis parties, how can you even tell me that you care about
How can you even support the Gongo?
How can you even say you care about the femo-genocide or the femigenocide in the Gongo if you don't get us to 3 crisis parties? I mean, really.
Personally, I'm still calling it a fengicide. From Grega with love, if they race swap James Bond, they can't say the actor is playing Ian Fleming's James Bond in the opening credits. Ian Fleming's James Bond is white.
I
believe that is made explicit in the literature, is it not?
Doesn't matter. I mean, does it have to literally say those words? Is that why people are allowed to argue about Snape? Because it says sallow and pale rather than white?
Well, now, if you're going to write a book about any fictional character, make sure the first sentence in the book is...
They're white. They're black.
Yeah.
They're this. They're Asian.
So-and-so is white. Anyway.
Imagine this person, and they like put in like they kind of cross them between 2 celebrities. Right. It's Daniel Radcliffe, but with Rupert Grint's hair.
Yeah, exactly. Kenneth Hart said, Brett, celebrating my 3rd anniversary tomorrow. Let me offer some advice. It's femocide now. Not because you're weak, but because women are irrational. I guess you just have to accept that it's a femo-genocide.
Nah.
You know, happy wife, happy life.
I'm not doing that.
Red Snow.
Does that mean I'm sleeping on the couch tonight?
Yeah. For at least a week. Red Snow said the next Bond should be James Gongo. Let's Gongo!
Let's Gongo!
Love that. Shane H. Wilder said, I told you Believe was amazing, but you didn't believe me. No pun intended. It was reminiscent of the movie The Fury with Kirk Douglas and Amy Irving.
Bro, I'd already seen it. I just didn't remember it. I'd already watched it when it came out. That was at the time when I was torrenting everything. Past the statute of limitations, bros. I'm okay. I was torrenting everything at that time. And I was watching it at that time.
Statute of limitations.
Though I don't remember Delroy Lindo being in it as much as he is. He's like one of the main characters. I mainly remember Jake McLaughlin and the girl, but very cool.
Shane H. Wilder, sorry, from Grega with Love said Aidan Turner should be the next James Bond. Hey, what about Nicholas Hoult?
No.
Why?
Because he can't be Lex Luthor and James Bond.
Why?
Because I said so.
Is that a rule now?
It's my rule.
Since when is that a rule?
Because I just made it up.
Moonlight said the female gaze is literally just called lesbiaize. Yes, I made that up. Yeah, I know it's good. Please tell me it was good.
It was good.
I'm not going to tell you that was good. It's not. No Control said have to get other people to like it for funding. To like
I don't
James
know
Bond?
what's that in reference
I
to.
don't know.
Oh, I'm ending the poll, by the way. British and black or white and American?
Who wins?
With 51% of the vote, British and black, very split.
It is very split, which I
Very
like
split.
doing. I like picking a poll that's really going to be controversial. But I disagree with the majority opinion on this one, I have to say. Pop Culture Junkie said David Heyman's production company Heyday Films has a first look deal with Warner Brothers. This is with his company and not him. Should not affect a possible Bond gig.
Interesting.
Brian Bledsoe said also Queen of the Ring was meh, lifetime movie quality. The editing was weird with all the fade out, fade into different scenes.
Weird that they do that a lot. Like, it's one of those things you don't see a whole lot in network television anymore either. Scenes don't go to commercial by just fading to black.
Right.
That's one of the things I love about old X-Files episodes. It's just that shit just fades to black and then fades back in.
Yeah.
I love it.
And then they kind of repeat part of the conversation.
It was, the worst was the show Leverage. They wouldn't just like pick back up where they said, it would be different lines.
Yeah.
Like they said the same thing, but in a different way.
Yeah.
Like they just took a different take.
Streaming that shit is a bit of a mind-boggling
I love it.
experience.
I love it. All of the dude, what was that guy's name? The guy who made Leverage and The Librarians and Almost Paradise. The guy who made all those, they're all like that. They all have that same type of like made for TV quality because it's literally made for TV.
No Control said men don't need a bot to swipe on every female. Not all men do that. I'm sure a lot of them do, as Phil said, his guitar tech. Just swipes on literally all of them, but maybe you shouldn't. Mr. Sogeny said saying anime is satanic doesn't make me mad. It just makes me think that the person is are worded. What's next is Pokemon and Transformers Satanic 2.
I mean, Transformers is amazing. We have a big super chat here from Francisco Sanchez Jr. Says, hold please. Time for a crisis party.
Well,
thank
you for the
Saving
crisis party.
the Gongo. One crisis party at a time is Francisco Sanchez Jr.
Francisco Sanchez Jr., the Gongo knees are going to be so grateful for your contribution.
I mean, let's face it, not all that money's going to make it to the people. Just
Okay,
like
we don't need to tell them about that. Thank you, though.
I mean, governmentally organized, non-governmental agency or organization, Gongo.
As for the anime thing, I am not going to elaborate. Pop Culture Junkie said AI Wingman, excellent bad rom-com fodder.
Yeah.
Definitely. Corn Pop said, I will go to timeout for you, Mary.
Well,
I don't know what that
then.
means.
I like that he's got the
Wilder.
old Cleveland Indians logo. At the
Shane H. Wilder said, how long until the AI Wingman goes full Barney Stinson and tries to pick up your Tinder date?
Yeah, like that's the thing. Like, what if he just ends up wanting to snake your...
AI Wingman telling you what to say, very Cyrano de Bergerac, and not in a good way. I'm not sure I understand the reference.
Cyrano de Bergerac.
Bergerac, is it? Who
Uh,
is that?
Name I've heard. Don't know what it's in
Oh, you don't
reference
know
to.
who it is. Okay. Moonlight said, I want to see a mock date. Oh, you already read that one. Brian Bledsoe said, what did you do for the Gongo this weekend?
I went and skated. That's what I did for the Gongo this weekend. Because if I'm not happy and healthy and well-rounded in life, I can't come back to work on Monday and promote the Gongo.
Well, I said my prayers for the Gongonese.
There you go.
I hope that was sufficient. The Real Hydro PX said, Brett, half the time your face looks like you're tired of Mary's...
SB?
Is it BS or SB? I don't know. You are doing amazing. It's best men and women don't work together.
What?
Everyone thinks that we hate each other. Isn't it funny?
That's like this show wouldn't be able to exist if we hated each other.
A lot of people think that though. Like I see comments fairly often that are like, "Wow, they clearly hate each other."
This show wouldn't be possible. Like you can do that in Hollywood, or network TV,
where you have cuts.
Where there's not just cuts, but like they show up, they look at their notes, and they probably only interact like a little bit before the show and after. Like we have to like plan the whole show. Like we don't have people doing other parts of the job for us.
This is our whole
so
gig.
It's if we're not able to be collaborative, then it wouldn't work. So
Shane H. Wilder said,
though I can't know for sure whether Mary doesn't go home and go, God, fuck him. Like that's completely plausible. I don't know.
Well, that's similar. I don't know if you do the same thing about me. So it's like,
but, you know, like I don't do that.
It's a
but
two-way
if
street
she
then.
does it, I understand. I can be infuriating sometimes.
Shane H. Wilder said, reset the person of interest counter. Yes, it's back to 0, and it's my fault.
Look, considering how much AI gets brought up in the world now, I should be commended for not mentioning it more.
That was me, though. I was the one who brought it up today, so I'm actually to blame. Arsenal Man said, dating advice from women is always terrible. Yeah, that's why I tell men, give this advice to other men, and then men are like, whoa, that's great advice. Greg Duvier said, anonymous when you have a verified account. Smart. Is the anonymous account?
Yeah, it is verified.
Known? Okay. Moonlight said, me, our diet is bad. Mary, people can't drive anymore. I was just saying that, you know, it's proof that people are crazy, that they're trying to kill everybody on the road.
In the chat, Comatose says, there is a hate tension.
What? Yeah. Where?
Maybe they just don't interact with anybody in the real world.
Mary said everyone wants to kill. Yes, I did. Yes, I absolutely
She
did.
absolutely
I will
did say
stand on business. Omega Red Fan said in Mr. Robot, the anonymous parody group was called F Society. That was a clever innuendo. Yeah, I saw F Society shirts at Goodwill one time, like way before I ever saw Mr. Robot. I was like, this is cool. Like,
And then you
yeah,
realize
like
it's part
F
of a
Society.
show, and then you're like, oh,
and I was like,
it's
ew,
corporate.
that's corny.
It's like it's literally the product of something released on a corporate
Right.
television series.
Red Snow said Mary would clutch her pearls at my dad's driving. I mean, if I were in the car, probably, yeah.
We are almost at a fourth crisis party, guys.
Corn Pop sent us a couple of stickers, but I'm not sure what they were. Thank you anyway. Shane H. Wilder said, I've been trying something from Cardinal Robert Sarah. Sit for 3 to 5 minutes without listening or looking at anything. It's hard at first, but gets easier. That's a good practice.
What about planking?
Planking needs to come back too.
I mean, like at the actual planking that you do to work out. Like,
no.
to
I meant
your
like
core.
the internet memes.
Planking.
Just being a plank-like on a random surface. I think that's funny.
That was good early internet. Well, it's not even early internet.
The Harlem Shake should come back. Gangnam Style. What else? All of those things. I miss the way that meme culture used to be so innocent. Shane H. Wilder said, also, I scripted it as femo-genocide, so blame me.
Okay.
It wasn't Olivia's fault.
Yeah, she's like, look, I'm just reading the words on the page. Not her fault.
High Voltage 75 said, kudos to Knowles for plugging PCC this time. He really butchered your last name, though, Brett. LOL.
They always... Look, I don't... Whenever I go on podcasts or stuff, I don't ever correct them.
I don't even remember how he mispronounced it, but
probably said Desovic.
I wasn't going to correct him, you know, because that just makes it even worse.
When I was on with Valiant Renegade last weekend, he said it wrong. I'm like, is it not necessary? Like, I don't care. It does not matter.
But I thought it was pretty obvious. Did I ever mispronounce your name?
I have. Well, again, like I'm not,
pretty sure I knew that it was Dasovic.
I'm not a pussy, so I don't get mad when people mispronounce my name like some people. Okay. But if you did, I have no recollection of doing so.
Red Snow said Nick Cage for Bond. Frankly, Nick Cage for everything. Do you agree with this? Do you think that he should be the next Bond?
I'm okay with that.
All right.
And we got 2 more.
Do you have more?
Daniel Cerna says, keep it up. With
Thank
a
you.
thumbs up. And one more from No Control says, bring on the Gongo Shake.
The Gongo Shake?
I don't even know what that is.
Do I want to know?
I don't want to know.
High Voltage 75 said Dazovic.
Close enough.
He did not do the itch thing. I don't know what he did. It might have been...
Desovic is how...
I feel like it was Dasovic. I was like, what?
There's no Y in there.
I know, but like, what? He's saying it like day. Shane H. Wilder said Cyrano de Bergerac was a classical character known for being a romantic but also ugly, so he helped a man by hiding in a bush and feeding him lines.
Score. Okay.
That's funny.
Yeah.
All right.
All right, guys. Well, then, before we go, would you hit the like button on this video, please, and subscribe to the channel if you are new here and you have not subscribed here yet to us already. Sharing the videos out with everyone you know and subscribing to the channel, it really is the best way to help this channel grow. So please go ahead and do that. There's one more there, and then we will sign off.
Evan Perry said, Brent says he doesn't get mad about people saying his name wrong. Yeah, I believe you.
I mean, in general, it's just a waste of your time to care.
Red Snow said, shakes my gongo. Okay, on that note, you can send me validation on Instagram at Mary Archived, or you can send me hate on X whenever that is back up and running again, if ever. That is also Mary Archived. If you have not watched my episode of Yes or No with Michael Knowles yet, you should go check that out after this live stream. And save the Gongo, guys.
That's very good. I'm going to check it. I feel like we might have, like, I don't know if the crisis meter is not catching up or something, but I feel like
we're like just very close to the 4th crisis party right now. Let me check. We need $8 if we're going to get there.
Well, they've got a couple of minutes.
We're down to the wire
until we're down to the wire. One more from Shane H. Wilder says, save the Gongo, send them packing peanuts. Yes.
I'm serious. Yeah. If you haven't eaten packing peanuts that are made of potato starch before, you should try it. It's pretty tasty.
Okay. Guys, I don't advocate for that. Just go buy some actual
They're
peanuts.
like Cheetos without the dust.
Go get some actual that is the worst part of the Cheetos is the dust.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
I'm selling you on it now.
Yes, you are. All right, guys, if you want to follow me, I am on Instagram and on Twix at Brett Dasovic on both of those platforms. This show is here 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is noon Pacific. Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, Pandora, and Spotify. If you'd like to listen to the show, you can rate and review on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify. That's another way that you can help this show grow because ratings and reviews help, as well as thumbs upping the video, which more people should be doing now. And if you want to follow the show on social media, we are on Twix at popculture_show, Facebook, and not TikTok, because we are banned on TikTok, and who knows if that platform is even going to be around anymore anyways, at Pop Culture Crisis. And on Instagram, at Pop Culture Crisis Pod. One more from Corn Pop. He seems to be just a lemon laughing emoji. With all of that being said, ladies and gentlemen, we will be back with another episode tomorrow. We will see you all then.
Bye
everybody.